Okay team, I'm writing a script for this one. This will be the first for me since I tried to hype up the Reincarnated Yamcha movie that Sean Schimmel potentially leaked. You know, during that Fighters tournament a while back. So bear with me on this one. I originally tried to just talk over my Deltarune footage and realized that it had no real direction. So I went back and made a script. As most of you know, Undertale 2 has come out recently, which comes by the name of Deltarune, which is actually an anagram of Undertale. In it, you play as Totally Not Frisk, who wears the same clothes as Kara, but goes by the name Chris. Now in this video, I plan to cover a few observations I've made throughout mine and some other people's playthroughs, like Etika, GT Live, as well as some Easter egg videos by #1 Marmaduke fan. There are so many Easter eggs in this game, I just love this. Honestly, it's just great. Having said all that, there will be spoilers in this video. If you haven't experienced the game yet, you could always watch my playthrough. You don't actually have to watch it, but I'd greatly appreciate it. As well as any comments anyone makes. This goes for any of my videos, to be honest. It's rather quiet in this barren place of the interwebs, and I have fun chatting with more than just my own echo. Alright, the spoiler warning is out of the way. Without further ado, let's do this! Part 1. Ralsei's True Nature. Alright, first and foremost, the first meeting with Ralsei is an actual mountain of evidence that can be easily overlooked, due to how early in the game it is. Ralsei's prophecy talks about a human, a monster, and a dark prince. The human is obviously Chris, the monster is Susie, but Ralsei is not a prince. Just as a king with no subjects is no king at all, Ralsei has no kingdom. I believe that the Dark Prince in the prophecy is in fact Lancer. I also believe that Ralsei is actually a great evil that was sealed away, possibly even where the second Dark Well opened up. In his story, he leads us to the original one so that he could do something. Either remove it, take its power somehow, I'm not sure what his endgame is. Something is definitely up though. But a few things are unrefutable. 1. Ralsei lied to us. 2. Ralsei was sealed behind those massive doors. Undertale has always had small nuances that are very telling for a character, their past, their personality, eventually telling us everything at the end, and leaving it to the players to find what's left in the files. Another interesting fact is that Ralsei took the form of Azrael, which could mean one of a few things. 1. He's a shapeshifter. 2. He's actually Azrael. 3. He's a projection of what we want him to be. You can see Susie's intense reaction during the reveal, which is honestly very strange for her. Another interesting fact that comes with this is that his death animation when Ralsei dies in battle is he vanishes, leaving behind the robes, the hat, and the scarf. We've never seen a Darkener die yet, so we don't know what happens to them, but we do know that monsters turn to dust when they die. Speaking of which, how come literally no one picked up on Susie eating chalk? You know, being similar to the monster's death dust? Anyway, in the game we can see when Susie goes down, she doesn't turn to dust. However, Ralsei seemingly does. I think what's happening is Ralsei is taking the player's consciousness into consideration with its movements. It's trying to endear itself to us, not to Chris, to us. I think that Ralsei is well aware that we are playing. Ralsei is aware of our consciousness being here. A good piece of evidence to this is the fact that Ralsei is the only person who actually mentioned in-game mechanics. Susie also makes note of this, while questioning what Ralsei's talking about. There is also that scene in the cell where Ralsei doesn't even question how Chris can see the puzzle that Susie's doing, let alone help her out. I'm honestly not sure what Ralsei is. All I know is that it lied to us, and it's dangerous enough to be sealed behind large, heavy doors, dangerous enough to abandon an entire city. We should not trust him no matter how huggable he appears. Part 2. The theme is subversion of expectation. So I've been looking around, and a lot of people have been coming to the conclusion that the game's theme is the choice doesn't matter. I honestly do not believe that that is the truth, and instead feel that it is actually a subversion of expectation. What I mean by that is that the game is trying to shove in your face that what you do doesn't matter throughout the entire game. And for the most part, it's right. Honestly, every decision in the game is more for Susie to make than for the player. As if it's not their story, but hers. And honestly, it's a fair stance to take, as she makes most of the meaningful decisions in the game. Heck, you can't even kill the enemies, and so genocide is kind of a no-go. However, there is one change that happens based on your choices, and your choices alone. And that is how the king gets defeated. If you take the pacifist route, all of the enemies that you had passed on your journey will all rile together and save you from the mighty king, successfully overthrowing him and instating the real prince of the Darkeners, Lancer, to be the new king. If you don't befriend the enemies, they would never have come to your aid, and instead Ralsei would have dealt the final blow with Pacify, putting the king to sleep instead. Afterwards, you say your goodbyes and leave, vowing with Susie to return the next day. However, that night, you get possessed by Kara, who rips out your soul and throws it in a rusty birdcage, where you can only helplessly struggle before the game crashes, further reinforcing the powerlessness the game tries to force on you, the player. I believe the one instance of change, though, is telling of a different path entirely. I believe the game is trying to make the player give up hope. But in reality, all the little things you do will eventually add together in a meaningful way, much like real life. I believe it's very possible for that instance, if you choose to fight people like it's no big deal, Susie won't pick up on Kara's violent tendencies until it's way too late, potentially getting her to murder other people or allowing her to be taken out herself due to her not being on guard. However, I feel if the opposite is true, Susie will be able to pick up on the fact that you are not yourself, potentially saving others, potentially saving you, who are trapped in the cage. Though, in all truth, I feel the next game will take one of two paths, probably. One, we will possess Susie, much like how we were using Chris throughout this game, though it'll probably be a 50-50 control thing. Or two, we will see an entirely different world after the one we were in gets destroyed by Kara. It's very possible that we will see an entirely different world in the next game, after Chara has her way with it. Though personally, I'd prefer to have a stake in this new world that we've got to see and try to save it if possible. Honestly, I feel the only hope for that world is Susie. I wonder how she'll fare against her very first friend. But hey, that's just my thoughts. My knight's thoughts. It sounds like I have a knight. I have just a nightstand here that I just consult whenever. Hey dude, what do you think about this? Yes, I understand. Good, indeed. Yeah, so he says this is correct. He says this is correct. Anyway, we just gotta wait for the next chapter to spontaneously get released when no one's looking. Who wants to bet? Thanksgiving? Black Friday? Maybe Christmas? Honestly, I can't wait. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, it'd be real nice of you if you'd comment, like, and or subscribe. I upload gameplay of any game I like every other day, be it story or just me having fun. And if you happen to play any of the same games as I on PC, we should play together. I'm thine very own nemesis, after all, on Steam. Thank you for watching. This is Surrender from Serial Gaming. Good night! This is my first fully produced video. I even made a script for it. So, pin this on the icebox! I don't have a printer, So I can't. Okay, I'm out. Thanks. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I don't know why I put this part in the very end of it, but thanks. Thanks for watching. See ya. Goodbye. Good night.